Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Please ensure to like, share, and subscribe. And also click the bell notification in the top right-hand corner to be made aware anytime I upload tutorials or videos to YouTube. All right, let's craft together. Hey guys, I am going to walk you through the process of how to take an image that you may get from online like Etsy or Google, that you may find, and how you can take that image and add a background to it and some words so that you don't have just the image or the picture, or clip art just sitting on the on your garment by itself. So yesterday I went in and I took this image that I bought from Etsy or got off of Etsy, and I took that image and I put it on this t-shirt. And this is actually a 13 by 9, 13 by 19. So you guys can see how crisp and clean that is. So this is on a 13 by 19, or the size is 13 by 19. So I'm going to show you how I did this in Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm going to show you everything I did in Microsoft PowerPoint, and then I'm going to recreate the image because I'm going to actually place it on the back of the garment. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, here we are inside Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, when you open your Microsoft PowerPoint, if you actually have something that's on your slide, it may look something like this, like a title slide. Don't just go in and highlight this and delete it. The best way to do it is just to right-click the slide and select Layout and choose Blank, okay? And that will remove it. That way, the next time you go in and you say New Slide, it'll continue to give you a blank slide. So if I now go in and right-click it and select New Slide, it'll be blank. If I go here and just hit New Slide, I can select Blank, okay? And that'll just keep the blank slides going that don't have anything on them as if you were doing a presentation. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to be doing this image size. I'm going to be doing 13 by 19. So you want to go to your menu and select Design. Come all the way over to the right and select Slide Size, Custom Slide Size. And you want to make sure that your slide size for field says Custom. Your width, your width is 13 inches and your height is 19, and you would just click on it and change it to whatever you need to change it to, okay, by using your up down arrows, or you could type it directly in. We only want one image or one thing to print, or this to number of slots, we only want one. And then our orientation is going to be portrait. Don't worry about the notes, handouts, and outline. We're not going to be utilizing that. So we're going to hit OK. Now, if you get another screen that says maximize or ensure, you're going to click ensure and then select OK. Okay. Mine is not doing that because I already have mine set at 13 by 19. So one thing I do want to say is that if you don't have a printer that will allow you to print 13 by 19, this is not going to work for you. So you would want to change your size restriction to whatever, the largest your print will do. My printer is the Epson Workforce 7720, and it prints up to a 13 by 19. So if you're working with a smaller printer, you would just make sure that your slide size has those size measurements in there. So if you have a 8.5 by 11, you want to type in 8.5 by 11 and select portrait. Okay. All right. Once you get that done, you want to go to Insert, Picture, this device, and I'm going to be selecting the same image that I showed you just a moment ago. And again, I got this image from Etsy. So I'm just going to select that. So you will locate the image wherever you have it on your computer, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is, you see I have all this extra space in here around my image. I wanna get rid of that because I wanna make this image as large as I can get it, and I don't wanna have all this white space in there. So I'm just gonna crop out this unnecessary white space. So with the item or the image selected, and you can tell it's selected because you have the little circles, dots going around it, I'm gonna go up to my menu and select crop and crop. Now, when you're working with crop, you want to make sure that these little black marks that are surrounding your image, that's what you want to select. You don't want to click just here. You want to make sure you're on one of these little bolded lines here. So I'm just going to click that one and drag down until I am happy with the space being removed. I'm going to do the same thing on the left side, but you don't want to remove your image, to crop out your image. And then we're going to do the bottom and the right side. So now when I look at this image, I don't have all that extra space in there. Now I'm going to, when you want to resize the image and you want to keep the size proportion to height, you want to make sure that you're dragging from the side, the bottom or the top sides, not the middle. Never drag from here because that's going to distort your image, okay? So I'm just going to undo that, but I'm going to bring it down as far as I can get it without it going outside of the page. So about right here is where I'm going to have my image to sit. Now, you can go in and, you know, like I said, you can try to get it a little bit larger, but you see how it's extending outside of my screen? That means that she's going to be off. So it's going to, your printer is only going to pick up that much of her. Okay. So if you want more of her and you don't mind having it to look a little bit smaller like that, then you can do what I just did. Okay. But in most cases, you want to drag either from the top right or left, or the bottom right or left, and not the middles. Okay. Not the middle sections. All right, now that we have that out of the way, now this image, when I click on graphic format, it shows me that this image is 18.33 inches height wise, and the width is 13. Okay, so we have 13 by 18.333 if you want the actual size that I have. Okay, so what we're going to do is we want to, you could take this and you could put it in the reverse or mirror it, because anytime you're doing sublimation, you want to mirror the image. You could go right into mirroring the image and printing this out if this is all you want. But I want to change my look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and duplicate this slide so that I can show you the difference between this and what we're going to be doing here today. Okay. And then you be the judge on how you want to proceed. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click in the open space. You don't want to click on the image. Okay, so I'm clicking right above the image so I can get to the background. Okay, so now I'm clicked on the background, and on the right hand side, you're going to have your format background area. So I'm going to be working with gradients. That's what we're going to be working with here today. So the first thing you want to do is come down to your second area where it says gradient fill, and you want to select that radio button. Okay. Now I'm going to play around with these colors. Now I'm going to be choosing the colors from my image because I want to keep it consistent. Okay. So I don't want to just go here and just start adding any colors that don't have anything to do with my image. So like if I go in there and put some of these colors, I'm going to show you what this is going to look like. So I'm just selecting any colors. Now, though it gives a little pop and it looks kind of cute, I would prefer to work with the colors directly from my image. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we're going to do that using the gradients. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to change the type. After you select gradient fill, we want to change that type to rectangular. Okay, we want to change that to rectangular. After you do that, you want to make sure you have 4 gradient stops. So I have 1, each one of these is a gradient stop, 2, 3, 4. I want to have 4 of those, okay? So what we're going to do is, if you want to have yours to look exactly like mine, then you can follow along with me. If you want to have yours, you want to play around with it a little bit, I would suggest if you're working with gradients for the first time, follow me, and then you can go back and change it up however you so like. That way you can get used to how to use the gradients first. Okay. So what you want to do is on that first gradient, we're going to use the color green. Okay. And we're going to take the green from her shirt. So you want to select that first gradient. Now, if you have more than 4 gradient stops on here, so like if I click, it'll add another gradient. So now I have 5. If you have more than 4, then click on one of them and then select this remove gradient stop, and that'll take it away. Okay. So now we have our first gradient stop. We're going to click on color, and then we're going to come down to eyedropper, and we're going to put it on a color of her shirt. And whatever color works for you, just select it, and you can tell that what color you have because you're going to see a little rectangle that has the color in it. So wherever my little pen is laying, it'll show you what color it's going to pick up, okay, from the image. So I'm going to go back down to this light green. Okay, so the first gradient stop is going to pick up that that lime green from her shirt or jacket. So next we're going to go to the second gradient, and this time we're going to take a little bit of color from maybe like her hand. I want it to have that like brownish color. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the second gradient stop. We're going to come down to color, select eyedropper, and then I want it to have kind of like a little bit of this kind of tannish color, or maybe I'll do the lip. I think it was more like the lip color, this kind of pinkish color right here. We're going to select that, and I'm going to change the position to 37. So I'm going to move that color a little bit because I want this to look like there's like a room in the background. Okay, so I'm going to change this to 37 by selecting this up arrow. And you can type it directly in. So we have that at 37%. Our third gradient stop, we're going to select that one. And this time we're going to take color from her lip. So I'm going to select eyedropper, and I'm going to take this little dark color from her lip. Okay. So you see how it's beginning to look more like there's like a room, like she's, inside of a room. And we're going to make this gradient stop position 71. Okay. And then lastly, we're going to do our last gradient stop. And on this gradient stop, you're going to go to color. And I think I had like this grayish color. Okay, so I just had this grayish color. You can take it from her shirt. So I'm going to show you gradient, color, eyedropper, and you kind of play around with it. I went a little bit darker there. So let's see if I can choose a little bit of a lighter kind of gray. I think I had it on blue. Let's see. Yep, that's what I had it on. So I selected this blue that is already a defined color. So I didn't take that from her. So I took 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth color lines over. I took that blue accent. All right, and we're going to put that at 100%. So there we have our background now. Okay, so it doesn't look like we just have her like just, the white space. So when you print this out and you put it on, sublimate it onto a white shirt, you would just have this, the image of her. Whereas now we have this nice background, with a little pop of color. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to insert our text. Okay, so we're going to go back to the menu, insert, come over to the text box, and then just right click and drag to get your text box. And you can put whatever you like to. I'm going to say, spare me the details. Please. because that's what it looked like she's saying. Spare me the details, please. Like, get to the point. All right, so we're going to go to our font area here. This little block right here is our font area, and this little block is our paragraph area. So we're going to go to the font area, and you click the drop down arrow for the font, and you can select whatever font you want to work with. Okay, whatever floats your boat. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of play around. I think I'm going to go with this Allura. And next to your font type, we're going to select the font size, and you can make it whatever size you want to. And I'm going to come down under the font and select bold. And the next thing is we're going to go to our paragraph area to the right of the font area, and we're going to center. Okay, now you can make this a different color. So if you wanted to highlight that and come to your font area and choose a theme color, you can make it white, you can make it whatever color works for you. Okay, I did mine in black initially, but I may do the white this time. All right, so now that we have this, we have to get this in the reverse position or the mirrored position. Now, you can't just take your text and mirror it. So what you have to do is we're going to click our text box and we're going to say save as picture. And I'm just going to put this on my desktop and I'm just going to say text box. That's all I'm going to call it, text box, and save. Now the image, you can go ahead and put that in the reverse. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to come up to your graphic format in the menu, and you're going to come down to rotate, and you're going to select flip horizontal. So now she's in the reverse. She's mirrored. Okay. I'm going to move this over to the right so it's not a part of my design any longer. And I'm going to go and insert from the menu, picture, this device, and I'm going to go and take that text box that I just put on my desktop, which is here, and insert. Now that it is in the form of a picture, we're going to take that and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to picture format, rotate, and we're going to rotate that by flipping it horizontal. Okay, so that's how, and you don't have to worry about it because once we, print it out, it's going to come out in the right direction. But you can't just take your text here and just flip that there. Okay, so now we can take this and delete it if we no longer need it because we have our text box now, and you can reposition it wherever you want it, but now we're good to go because everything is in the reverse. So at this point, we're ready to print out. So you could have your design to just be the image itself, or you can go in and give it that pop of color with the background. Okay, so totally up to you. All right, so now with the image selected, you don't have to do like in Cricut, you have to, highlight everything and group it, and you don't have to do that. Okay, you can leave it just like it is. Now we're going to go to File, Print, and you want to make sure that you have the settings for Print Current Slide. Okay, Print Current Slide, and if yours is not showing Print Current Slide, just click on that drop down arrow and then select Print Current Slide. Again, I'm using the Epson Workforce 7720. I'm going to click on Printer Properties. And for my paper source, I'm going to be using paper cassette 1. So that's tray number 1. And for my document size, I'm going to be using Super B, which is 13 by 19 inches. Okay. If you don't see that in your selection, then click your drop down arrow to locate it. Okay. So Super B. And I'm using just plain paper. I'm going to come down to the quality, more settings, and I want to make sure that I move that little corner. I want to move that all the way over to quality and hit OK. And then I'm going to go, you have 3 tabs here, main, more options, and maintenance. I'm going to select more options, and you want to make sure you deselect high speed. Okay, so if sometimes you end up with lines in your image, That's why. Okay, so you want to make sure that you remove high speed, and you want to make sure that on your quality, on your settings here, that you change that to quality. Okay, so once you get those things done, everything else is good. You hit OK, and you're ready to click on print. Now I'm going to go ahead and load my printer because I don't have the paper in there. So I'm going to come back on up on screen, and we'll get through this last part together. I am now going to go ahead and load my paper. So I am using a sub paper. This is 13 by 19. I ordered it from Amazon. Um, I'll link it in the description. This is 13 by 19. It comes with 100 sheets, okay? 100 sheets. And so you can imagine that this will last you for a while unless you're printing 13 by 19 every day. All right, so here's my 13 by 19 A sub. Heavy. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna load my tray. So take out this smaller paper, and all I'm doing is setting my paper tray up to accept 13 by 19 or to print 13 by 19. All right, so I have that loaded. One sheet of paper, 13 by 19. All right, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and select print. All right. I'm pretty sure I hit print. All right, there we go. All right, so while that's printing, I'm going to share just a couple of things with you in regards to sublimation. So first thing first is when you get ready to sublimate something, you want to make sure that you lint roll your garment first because you don't want any type of hair particles or dust or dirt or anything that may have, gotten on your garment. You want to make sure that you lint roll it first. So we're going to lint roll it. Then we're going to press it for about 5 seconds to get out any moisture. And then we're going to use some heat tape, and I'll link these things that I'm using. We're going to put some heat tape to hold our image down we're going to lay the image face down onto the garment, put some heat tape to hold the image in place because you don't want it to shift. If the image shifts, then you're going to end up with what we call ghosting. And that's where it's going to look like more than one image and it's going to look blurry. And a perfect example is if you were intoxicated, feeling a little drunky, and your blur vision, that's what ghosting is. And you don't want that to happen because you can't recover from that. And then I cover my image with Teflon sheets. And you can also get those from Amazon. You can normally get like a bundle of heat tape, Teflon sheet, and sometimes it may come with some other things, okay? But you're definitely going to need some heat gloves, just in case I didn't say that. And you're going to press that at 400 degrees for 60 seconds. Now, every heat press is not the same. I have a 16 by 24 that I got off of eBay. And when I say every heat press is not the same, every heat press has a sweet spot, and you have to find out what yours is. Now, mine, it works at 60 degrees, at 400 degrees, 60 seconds is perfect. Some people may find that that's too hot for theirs, or the heat is too hot and it burns, or what have you. So they may have to lower their temperature like to 375 and do 60 seconds. But you have to find what works for you. But normally, most often than not, when you're working with sublimation for this type of project, it's normally around 400 degrees for 60 seconds. So I'm just going to put that out there. So I'll link all of those things that I just mentioned to you that you'll need when you're doing sublimation. Now I'm using Hippo Ink. This is the ink that I'm using. This is low end. It's on the price is on the low end, but it works great. The quality is good. You guys just saw the shirt that I did. And you can get that off of Amazon. I'll link it as well. If this is the first time you're doing sublimation and you order the Hippo ink, you want to make sure that you get needles and syringes, because that's the only way you're going to get the ink into your cartridges for the Epson Workforce 7720. And this Hippo ink, when I got it, it did not come with needles and syringes, but I had been using Ink X Pro, and so I already had needles and syringes, so it was no problem. Oh, it's gorgeous. So what else? Yeah, that's it. The ink that you're going to be using. Now, there's a really good video on YouTube to tell you how to change over your Epson Workforce 7720 from an inkjet printer to a sublimation printer, and it's really, really easy. I have a portion of when I did mine on my YouTube channel, so you can look at that as well, and it may help you. But you guys see I'm space limited. So this used to be my dining room. So I wasn't able to have the proper setup to do the video, where you could see everything when I was doing mine, but I did capture a good deal of when I changed my Epson Workforce 7720 to sublimation. Okay. And I can tell you, I've not had any issues. Everything works like it should. Now, once you change this printer over to sublimation, you pretty much need to buy you a new printer for inkjet, because you can't do inkjet today and sublimation tomorrow on this printer. Okay. And I will also tell you that you void your warranty. So if you buy the Epson Workforce 7720 and you change it over from inkjet to sublimation, the warranty is null and void. Okay. So, all right, she's almost done, and she's so pretty. Here it is. Isn't that gorgeous? That is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Come in for a close-up. No lines or anything in the print. Now, when you do sublimation, she looks dull here, but once you apply that heat at 400 degrees for 60 seconds, that's when the colors are going to become vibrant. So don't expect your colors to show vibrant and popping. When you print it out, it's going to come to life when you put it on the heat press. Okay. So now we're going to move over to the heat press. I'm going to walk through that process with you. And then we're going to be done. So I'm going to take my shirt. Where did I put my shirt at? Oh, it fell. So I'm going to be taking this shirt, and I'm going to be now putting the same image. Okay, I'm now going to be putting this on the back. So on this one, you can see I had my text in black, but this one I have my text in white because I kind of changed my colors up just a little bit. But we're going to have her now on the back of our shirt. So when you're doing the front and the back of the shirt, I'm going to be putting butcher paper down on the bottom of my heat press. That's because now I have sublimation ink that could bleed into the bottom. So I'm going to put paper down on the bottom, butcher paper down on the bottom. I'm also going to place butcher paper inside of the t-shirt, and then I'm going to place my image down. So you're going to see the entire process. So come with me. All right. All right, guys, here we are at my heat press. So one of the things I forgot to tell you is that normally I trim the top bottom edge of the paper, because sometimes when you get your prints, sometimes when the paper starts to go through your printer, it will pick up some of the ink, and so you'll end up with a little bit of the ink showing up at the top of your image, and you're probably wondering, why do I have that ink at the top of my image? Where is that coming from? It's coming from your print. Okay, so even though you can't see it, it's always safer to cut off just a little bit of that white from around your image. Okay, because if any of that ink got caught on the sides of your print as it was going through your machine, your printer, it's going to pick up in your output. Okay, so I'm just cutting off a little bit of the excess. You don't have to do this. If you don't end up getting ink to bleed over, then don't worry about it. This is just a safety precaution for me, because I want this shirt to be the best that it can be, because I'm in love with this 13 by 19. This is the second 13 by 19 print I did. The first one was when I did the first part of the shirt. But like I said, this is just a safety precaution. Better safe than sorry. Especially if you're selling your garments, guys. You don't want to find out because you printed it. Because once you get that ink on there from this sublimation, you can't wash it out. It's a done deal. Alright, so I have my heat press heating up. And I have now trimmed my image so I don't have to worry about any bleed from the ink showing up. And I'm going to take and I'm going to put down butcher paper. Remember I said, since I have sublimation ink on the bottom or the front of the t-shirt now, I'm going to use butcher paper to cover my heat press so that none of that ink bleeds through from the front of the shirt. And this butcher paper I got from Amazon, and you can see it's a huge roll. It's half the size it used to be, because I do use it like I'm supposed to. So I'm just going to cover my heat press so that when I put my t-shirt down, the ink that's on the front of the shirt doesn't bleed into my press. Now we're going to take our t-shirt. Sometimes I have to look and make sure my phone is recording, because I've had issues where I was talking and I forgot to hit record. All right. So I'm going to get my shirt laid out. And do be careful, guys, because you don't want to get a burn. So I could have laid this all out beforehand. All right. So I want to make sure we have the dead center. All right. So now you want to come down about 4 to 6 inches from the top of the shirt when you're pressing on the back. So we're going to come down about 4 to 6 inches. So I'm going to do 6, which is going to put me about right here. So I'm just going to lay that right there for a second so that when I lay my image down, I know that. And it actually looked like it's about maybe an inch down from where the front of the image was on the front of the shirt. So you do 3 fingers down, about 3 to 4 fingers down, depending on the size of the shirt on the front. And you want to come down 4 to 6 inches on the back if you're doing the back side. Okay, so you can see her through there. Hopefully you guys can see that. So I'm going to put a piece of butcher paper in the middle. now we're going to go inside of our shirt with the butcher paper. You know, sometimes you're like, man, I got it all on there, and now I got to put this butcher paper in and mess everything up. Yep. Like I said, better safe than sorry. All right, let's get her all lined back up here and make sure we got that butcher paper covering up the image. And now let's get it laid back out. I don't think I cut my butcher paper. I'm gonna have to turn it around. All right. There we go. All right, I'm going to get it lined back up here. The butcher paper is acting up on me. Kind of hard on this side over here. There we go. All right, so now we got our butcher paper in, and that's just to stop any bleed from the front side. Now, I've never had that happen, but I don't want to make it happen today. I don't want today to be the first, because like I said, I'm in love with my shirt. This butcher paper don't want to lay flat up here. There we have it. All right. Perfecto. Perfecto. And I always gauge the bottom of my shirt to make sure that it's not, you know, that everything is laying like it should. And I think we're good. Got the image covered up. Looks like it has a little bit right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this Teflon sheet right at the very bottom instead of cutting out another piece of butcher paper that just made my head hurt. We're just going to use that to make sure we got that bottom covered. All right, so we're good to go. So first thing first, I'm going to just cut off a couple of pieces of heat tape. And get those ready. And I normally take like 3 little pieces of heat tape. And I'm going to get my heat gloves so that when I start lint rolling, if my hand accidentally touch this top platen, I don't get burned. Okay, I got my lint roller from Walmart. So, lint roller. And heat gloves. So my press is still heating up. It's at 138 right now, which is Celsius. So I'm gonna let it get up to 200. So we're gonna lint roll, because whatever lint, dust, hair, whatever is on this shirt, it will pick up in your sublimation. So this is a definite must that you lint roll your shirt where your image is going to be. Okay, and we're going to press this for about 5 seconds. And that's going to remove any moisture from our shirt or our garment. I always say shirt because I just assume people are working with shirts, but I know people, you know, they put stuff on hoodies, they put stuff on pants and, you know, pillowcases and shower curtains. So whatever your garment is that you're working with, you want to make sure you lint roll it. All right, I'm just gonna move this heat tape. I think my shirt got caught up because it looked like it picked up something right there. And I don't have the slightest idea what it could have picked up on that end. I think it was pinched in here. So that's why I always try to make sure that I have that pushed over. All right, so I'm gonna press this for about 5 seconds, like I said, to remove any moisture from the t-shirt. So we're gonna give it a good press here. Okay. And I'm gonna pause you, and when it gets ready at the 400 degrees, then I will bring you back and we'll go through the remaining portion. All right, so we are about 6 degrees from our 400. So I'm gonna go ahead and remeasure my 4 to 6 inches from the top of the shirt. Just doing my double checks. So again, 4 to 6 inches from the top. We're going to come about here for the back of the garment. So we're going to have to move this up just a little bit. Move our shirt up just a little bit. Take another look, and you have to kind of work fast because once the heat hits this, it will start to sublimate, guys. Trust me when I tell you. All right, I think we're good. I think it's about as centered as I'm gonna get it. We're gonna go ahead and put our heat tape down to hold our garment in place, or our image in place. Because you don't want any ghosting. All right, and then I'm going to use my Teflon sheet. On top. Hold on 1 second. Got my Teflon sheets. I'm going to go ahead and put this down now. We're at 400 degrees. And I will bring you back about 5 seconds into it being done. All right, we're almost done here. hot, 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 hot. You can always tell when you have a good sub because you can start to see the image bleed through, which is always a great sign. And we're going to go ahead and lift up. Look how beautiful that is. Beautiful. Beautiful. So hopefully you guys can see that here. The full image. I'm going to turn my light back on. It's kind of hot, hot, hot. So that is the full image. I'm going to remove all my stuff here. So at this point, this is trash. No reason to save this. This is the image that we were working with. I don't know what I got right there. And we can go ahead and remove that butcher paper. Inside of our shirt. And there is no sign of the image bleeding through on this butcher paper. But to be on the safe side, just in case it's some ink I can't see, I'm going to go ahead and trash it. Better safe than sorry. But I have never experienced my ink bleeding through from the front to the back or the back to the front. Never. But I take that safety precaution just in case when I do front and back. I don't do it when I do the front only. But when I do the front and the back, I do it. I do it. That sounds like it. Anyway. Alright, so that is it. I'm going to cut my heat press off here. That is it, guys. Hopefully, you know, you can see everything here now. For the full image, I try not to move my light too much because it will cut off on me. So that is it. That is the garment completely done now. And you can see the ink did bleed through onto that butcher paper. So hopefully you guys can see that ink in there because I can see it. I can see her eyes right here. So if you did not have this butcher paper down on your heat press, the front of the t-shirt, that ink would have bled into this rubber. And then the next time you do sublimation, that would bleed into whatever garment you were subbing on. So that's why you always want to protect your heat press. All right, guys, that is it. That is my story, and I am sticking to it. I am going to see if I can turn this around without my little light cutting off. And then I'm going to see if I can bring you up. Well, my light did cut off. There we go. All right, so that is it, guys. That is how you sublimate. There we go. That's how you sublimate on the front and the back. So I didn't walk through the front part with you, but you can go to my YouTube channel and you can see any of the garments that I've done with the front part of the t-shirt done. And so this was just showing you how to do the back of the t-shirt. So here's our front. And here is our back. Again, 13 by 19 inches. This is this t-shirt is an extra large. And I get these shirts from Walmarty. These are George t-shirts. I like to wear the men's t-shirts. They're $6.98. They are a polyester cotton blend. So it's 65% polyester, 35% cotton. And I buy them all the time. Now I know where this little bit of black came from, guys. I'm going to show you where it came from. It came from that collar. Because I was wondering where that came from. It picked up, it got pinched, and apparently, that black came through right there, just a little bit. And I was like, that didn't come from my print, so where did it come from? So, note to self, make sure that George label is not covered with your heat press. Okay, but there you go. I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. Again, that's the back. We did the white lettering on the back, and then I did the black lettering on the front. Okay. All right, guys, that is it for now. If you have any questions that were not clear about the PowerPoint, not PowerPoint, but in using PowerPoint to do the gradients, to let me know, and I'll be more than willing to help you. If you have any questions in regards to the sublimation portion of it, let me know. And again, I'll be able to, and I'll help you with any questions that you may have in the comments. Okay. If you're currently subscribed to my YouTube channel, I want to thank you guys so much for supporting me via YouTube. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please join us. Join my YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe, and please like and share on those videos. That helps creators on YouTube know that we're headed in the right direction with things that you would like to see us do. That's what the thumbs up mean to me, is that they like it, so I continue to do more of that type stuff. And then if there's anything that I haven't done that you'd like to see, you can put that in the comments as well. And if you're currently following me on Facebook, my Facebook group is Candoris's Cricut and Creative Crafters. It is a private group, so if you would like to join us, just send me a Facebook group request to Candoris's Cricut and Creative Crafters. And what else? I will link everything needed to do this design in the description. So you'll have all of the links there. She just turned out so cute. Is she like, please spare me the details? Spare me the details, please. She's just looking like, please stop talking to me. All right, guys, that's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And you guys know my motto is each one reach one so that each one can teach one. And you guys have an awesome day. Bye.